So let's talk about the HTP Revolution 2500 machine. That is a brand new all-in-one, a true all-in-one AC/DC TIG with pulse, with different waveforms on AC. 5 amps starting, 250 amp max output. It was designed as a TIG machine, not like some afterthought, let's add some TIG to it and whatever it does, it's doing. Make and pulse make machine, stick and pulse stick, with a really efficient PFC, the power supply. It only draws 30 amps from the wall to put out 250 amp output to the welding torch. So I was blessed enough to be there when the page was blank, and I got to put my input in, and with a little bit help of my friends from the engineering team from Stel, I got to design my own machine. I'll dedicate a whole video to it, just a little bit here because people asked about. So what you see here is like a basement window grate, much like the one you see in the picture right here. Just that this one is on a sidewalk, so people actually can walk over or bicycle over it. So it needs to be sturdy enough. This one here was made out of mild steel. And when we making one out of aluminum here, using this very machine. So enjoy the show. So here, first of all, a little bit measuring. I got these welding curtain frames. They're 2 foot by 3 foot. And the finished product is just over 2 feet by 4 foot. So I used to have a buyer who bought like a bunch of those at a time, and I made like 5 or 6 extra ones, and they've been on my shelf now for 7 years, and the company that bought them, they don't exist anymore. So I can only use so many welding curtain frames myself. Like you see that sign that I mounted in the back there in one of those frames. But I got another blue curtain or whatever for 1 or 2. So I'm using a couple of these frames up here, repurposing this 1x1 aluminum tubing 1/8 inch wall, cutting them all to size, cutting them all to length, and building the new framework for this new window grate out of 1x1 aluminum tubing here. I have to lengthen a couple pieces, like weld them together, and then I have to put a chain holder on it, because this happens to go into Milwaukee downtown somewhere, and anything you don't chain down finds a lover. You know what I mean, when you could sell your grandmother to just get your next fix or so. So anyways, yeah, you see me here deburring and chamfering the corners a little bit. For this particular product, I chose the AC TIG process. I wanted to try the machine. You know, normally I'm like the MIG aluminum guy, but I had some material here that was really, let's say, dated. Like this stuff here has been in my shop, and grinding dust and plasma cutting and oxidation. It's been there for at least 4 or 5 years, that 1x1 tubing. And then I had some leftover grate from doing aluminum catwalks on tanker trailers. Last time I did those was at least 3 years ago. So they have been sitting outside the shop because it's aluminum and it doesn't rust. Yes, but it can oxidize. And I wanted the AC cleaning action. I wanted my fit up was not perfect. I wanted to be able to play with the heat and with the material addition here separately. I didn't want to have this like all in one. And then what I'm doing here is welding this all out. 100% argon gas, nothing fancy. I'm using the HTP Revolution 2500 and a heavy hitter torch. I'm laying this all out, and as filler material, I'm using the Rockmount Neptune filler, because it, not only that it has superior strength, it also has very good abilities to deal with some contamination better than your standard 4043 or 5356. So normally you would use this in a repair application. But seeing that this material is really quote-unquote used old material with oxide layer and some surface contamination on there, yes, I cleaned it. That doesn't mean that it is actually clean. So to clean stuff on this catwalk material here, that is really difficult because of all the little sharp angles, and you can't really get in there. So I opted to just use that rock mount Neptune to do my welding with it. And because the catwalk material is not as wide as I would need it to be, I need to go ahead and make this in like 2 pieces here side by side. And of course the pieces weren't long enough either, so I need to add something on there. But this is one of those jobs, if I would have bought all this material brand new in the correct size, that would have been in today's prices almost $500. And besides, I have to go get it, and the lead time, I have to wait for it. This is all material that was at my shop. It was available. I want to say it was no cost to me. It was already paid for years ago. So now it was just a function of labor. What you see here in like a fast forward here in a time lapse, that really took, between the cutting, the cleaning, the welding, it took like 4, almost 5 hours to get this all done. Now granted, with fresh material in the correct size, it could have been a lot faster, because that's the nature of the beast. It fits. I don't have to puzzle it together. I don't have to clean as much, and I didn't have to spend 1.5 or 2 hours cutting it all apart. But free is free, you know. It's when the price is right, the price is just right. When you won, you need to realize that you won, and just, you know, stop fighting. There's nothing to fight for anymore. You already won. So I'm puzzling it all together. It's all working out, and I know you guys want to hear and see the machine. So I'm gonna leave you a little bit welding here in like real time in there, so you see what's going on, what does it sound like, how did I do it, and then we'll finish this thing up and get it going. So I believe this was a 50 Hertz frequency and probably a 65% balance. This is an 1/8 inch 2% serrated electrode. Again, using the rock mount Neptune filler in 3/32. The material that the catwalk material is made out of is a 5052 H32, I believe. The 1x1 tubing is a 6061 T6, and here I'm sharpening the tungsten, welding it. So I decided to put the support on the inside and just weld the partial cut on the outside, because I welded every joint there, so there's enough strength. So I'm cutting it to length, and then the next step is to cut the relief in where it goes over the cross member, and then clamping it all in place and welding it all on. So all overall, besides that it took forever and the puzzle wasn't exactly like the most labor friendly item here, it worked out pretty well. I mean, the welds look good. It was fairly easy to do that. It wasn't really anything challenging, and customer was super happy with this. So here, see every single joint there I'm welding, and I'm setting the clamp down to make sure that I don't have a huge gap to weld when I do that. This there is the chain holder that I announced in the beginning. I'm using the crescent wrench to hold it in place, so a customer can run a chain through the basement window, like through the anchors that he has already in there, so nobody steals the grate when it's done. And everything worked out. Sizes were perfect. The city agreed with what I built for him, and there you go. Another job done successful, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.